Hi, my name is Naya Houghton, and I'm the Call for Kindness Program Coordinator at Rally's Way. And I'm thrilled you're interested in learning more about the Call for Kindness. I'll be going through a general overview for the program, and then my colleague Cheyenne will be going more in depth about the requirements and what is to be expected out of the fellowship. So, our Call for Kindness. The Call for Kindness offers young changemakers across the country the chance to participate in a dynamic leadership development fellowship and win up to $5,000 in funding for a project uniquely their own that inspires kindness and strengthens their local, national, or global communities. Now, in the past, we've had young people submit projects focused on a variety of different social justice issues. Previous projects have tackled issues like racial injustice, LGBTQ plus rights, access to technology, and the list goes on. Those are just a couple of examples. This year, as many as 40 youth-led projects will be awarded up to $5,000 each. And young changemakers aged 13 to 23 are invited to submit a new idea or existing youth-led project rooted in Riley's Way's values of kindness, empathy, leadership, and connection making. In addition to the general category, we will also be accepting projects under a special category this year, Education Equity. And we're excited to announce two brand new awards to the Call for Kindness program this year. We have the A Kinder World for Animals Award, which will support projects that address animal welfare and the role animals play in our lives. We have our Interfaith Connections Award, which will support a project centered around facilitating connections and promoting acts of kindness across diverse religions and cultural backgrounds. And finally, we have our Yuriko Kikuchi Arigato Award, which will support one project in dance and the performing arts. So now I'll pass it to Cheyenne, who's going to go through a little bit more about the requirements and the fellowship program.
Hi, my name is Cheyenne Rosado. I am the program director with Riley's Way, and I'm excited to talk to you today about the Call for Kindness application process. So Naya took you through the overview of the Call for Kindness program, and I'm excited to talk to you about the requirements as well as our leadership development plan. So some of the requirements are the applicant has to be between the ages of 13 and 23 years old and reside in the United States. The project must be youth-led and the application must be submitted by the youth leaders. You can apply individually or as a group. There is no size limit, but we just ask that the lead applicant has to be within the age range of 13 and 23 years old. Funding for projects must be given to a 501c3. If you do not have a fiscal sponsor or are not a 501c3, we will help you secure a partner. Lastly, fellows are required to participate in 80% of our leadership development offerings. In addition to funding for your project, we also offer a dynamic fellowship program that is designed to help grow your project, your network, and your leadership skills. The three pillars of the fellowship focus on skill building, connection making, and project support. Over the year-long fellowship, participants become part of a national network of like-minded change makers, adults, and experts. And this network will continue long past the end of the fellowship. We offer monthly Zoom calls where the skill building sessions are designed around the needs of that specific cohort of fellows. So each year looks a little bit different. In the past, some of the workshops have included getting press, telling your story, fundraising 101, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Fellows will also receive one-on-one project support, mentoring, brainstorming, and problem solving. In addition to all of this, we now also offer an in-person retreat. We realize that there is magic getting off of Zoom and connecting in person. So each cohort will have an opportunity to participate in a long weekend where there will be skill building workshops, spaces to continue to build your network, and friendships with the other fellows. We hope that each project is able to take advantage of these offerings, and I'm happy to discuss more once accepted into the fellowship of what that will look like.
Hi, I'm Grayson, and I was a 2022 Call for Kindness Fellow. Being a fellow was just an amazing experience. The entire Riley's Way team is so nice, and connecting with everybody over Zoom and at the retreat was amazing. I've met so many people from so many different projects, got incredibly inspired and really built my network. I think that being a Call for Kindness fellow is something that everyone should experience. It's a community like no other. And you learn so much and you're connected with so many amazing people. So yeah, I hope you are all able to join us here at Riley's Way.
Hi, my name is Laura Dunn, and I'm the Director of Operations for Riley's Way. We're so excited that you're interested in applying for the Call for Kindness. I'm here to walk you through the application, so let's jump right in. To access the application, for the first time, you can go to callforkindness.org or go to our website and go to our Call for Kindness page. And there you will see applications are open now. Click here to apply. You will be brought to our application page. And if you have not logged in or created an account on this page, you will be prompted to do so as you get there, obviously. So if you have not created an account, you can click log in or register, and you just simply enter your email and hit continue. If you do that, this is the screen that you will see to register. You'll want to put your first name, last name, your email address, a password, and agree to all of these things. If you have already created an account, you can simply log in to that account using my participant email here. So obviously you will log in. You can always hit remember me, and you'll be brought right to the application page. And so here you'll see all of the important information such as dates, deadlines, information, and anything of that sort. And so to start, you simply say, start your application. Obviously, all questions must be answered unless they're marked optional. And so the first page you have to fill out before you can access the rest of the application. And again, all of the information about the Call for Kindness is here, as well as what Naya, Cheyenne have already gone over, deadlines, email questions. And so on this page, you will select what category you're applying through. As Naya and Cheyenne have already gone through all of the special topics and the general application, I won't go into too much detail, but you'll see descriptions here, as well as a link to bring you to the page that has that information. All of the questions are exactly the same for all of these different categories. It's simply a way for us to categorize them on the back end so we know how we're judging and who's judging which application. So for just the sake of this application, I'm going to just select general application. And you can always download a blank application if you want to work on this in a different platform, either a Word document, Google Doc, what have you. So you can always don't have to fill it out, but you can always come back. Once you hit, before you hit submit, you can always come back to your application and make edits as well. So the application name, typically we'll love for you to use the project name, but you can kind of use whatever name you want here. So let's do C4K project. And then this is where you will get, we'll need a name and an email address. So with the application, if you are applying as a group, as it says here, we need one lead applicant just for the application. So this is the person in the beginning that we'll be in touch with if we need to schedule interviews, if we have any questions before selection, as well as notifying you if you have one. That's all going to go to the lead applicant. Once you have been accepted into the Call for Kindness program and you have other group members and you want us to communicate with all of them, that's when you'll give us all of their contact information, and we will, of course, communicate with as many people as your project wants. So for this, we'll put in Laura Dunn, and we'll put in my email address. And then we'll just hit save and next. And this opens up the rest of the application. So from this point on, I can go to any of the tabs and enter in any of the information in any order that I want, so that it's super easy. But I'm going to walk us through it kind of just page by page. So the first tab is personal information. Again, if you're applying as a group, you select a group leader, and that's where this information lives. Again, all of this information will be collected for all group members once a project has won. So you've already given us your name and your email. So now we want the phonetic pronunciation of your group leader's name. So we have some examples here. This is so that we can pronounce your name correctly. We want to do our best at that. And so by providing these phonetic pronunciations, you really help us out as we're going through the process. We want your age and your birthday, your street address. So this will be like 123 Apple Lane, your city, your state, and your zip code. And your phone number, if the lead applicant doesn't have a phone number, it can be your parent or guardian's phone number or project partner's phone number. Your gender identity, this is left open, so you can fill that out however you feel comfortable filling that out. Your pronouns, how you would like us to refer to you using pronouns. Your school, if you haven't go to school. Your ethnicity, and if there's anything else you want to share about your identity, this question is optional. So, I'm a first-generation college student, I am an immigrant, I am multilingual, anything that you want to share about yourself. And again, this is for the lead applicant. And then we're asking if the group leader is under 18 or 18 years and older. So if you're under 18, we would love to know your parent or legal guardian's name as well as their email address. And if you're 18 plus, that's all the information we need. At any point as you're filling out the application, you can always hit save and close to save and close and come back to it later, or you can hit save and next just to save your progress. If you hit preview, it'll just show you all of the questions that you have filled out. The next tab is about your project. It's like the brief summary of your project. So high level information that is super helpful for us as we're going through these applications. So your project title, what your project is called, 3 to 5 keywords that quickly describe your project. If you were talking about your project, you might say, my project focuses on creating opportunities for developing, creating opportunities for people to give back to their local animal shelters, right? So then we will only want 3 to 5 keywords. So you would say connections, animal shelters, volunteering. And then we have project summary. So in 100 words or less, briefly describe your project. This is kind of what you would put as a blurb on our website, how we might describe you to press. Very briefly, 100 words or less. We've upped the amount this year to $5,000 that groups can receive. So we just want to know how much you're requesting. So if you're requesting, up to $1,000, if you're requesting between 1,000 and 3,000, and then if you're requesting up to that 5,000. None of this has any bearing on the selection process, the judging process. It's just, again, information for us to know. Does your project take, so if you select that, it's just really a matter of selecting those. Does your project take place in one location? So is it like in your school or in your city or in multiple locations? Do you have multiple cities you work in? Do you work in multiple states? Do you work virtually? And so if you say one location, that's great. If you say multiple locations, we just want a little bit more information. Just list all of the locations that your project takes place in. And again, we have examples here. And then here's where you put in information about your group. So are you working with a group? If it's just you, fantastic. You can say no. If you are working in a group, it's 2 or more too. If 2 or more is a group, we'd love to learn more. So please share as much information as you want about your group here. So again, we have 15 volunteers between the ages of 10 to 18. My co-founder is so-and-so and they're this age. That just, again, helps us to understand the project as a whole. And then we'd love a photo. So this can either be, a headshot of you or a group photo. It can be a picture of your project in action, of you doing the work, or a logo if you have it. And that's this app page. You can then go to the application page. This is where you're going to be submitting the bulk of the information for your project and about your project. And again, all the details are up here. So we are allowing both written and video applications. And again, this is a personal preference or group preference. The weight of video or written has no bearing on the final decision. It's just a matter of how you're comfortable conveying information. And just as a note, written applications, or video applications, there are some written components there. And then we also want to know if it's a new project, a brand new project that you have an idea for that you are looking and excited to get out into the world, or if it's an existing project that you've been working on. So you'll let us know here. And I'll go through kind of what it all looks like. So let's start with a written application, and let's say it's a new project. And so the first question, describe your project and how it will have an impact in your community. You have up to 1,000 words. How does your project exemplify each of Riley's Way values? Empathy, kindness, leadership, and inclusive community. And you can visit our website. We linked it right here to make it easy to learn more about how we define those values. Here, what is your project timeline with specific goals between May 6, 2024, when the applications are chosen, and May 6, 2025, when the next cohort starts? And a bulleted list is fine. So you can type it out like this. You can type like, May 2024, we will, and then you can keep typing, or you can write it in paragraphs. Optional, open-ended, is there anything else you'd like us to know? And then here you'll share the exact amount of funding. On the previous page, we asked for that range. Here's where you'll share the exact amount that you're requesting. And then here's where you will attach a detailed budget for the amount that you requested. And again, keep in mind that this grant will be split into 2 checks. So you can either put both checks in half and do your budget that way, or just do your budget kind of the whole year. And you can visit our website to download a sample budget if you need it, or you can create your own template. So this is a written application for a new project. Let's look at a written application for an existing project. So these first questions are all the same. You'll see here, there's just these additional questions at the end. So just how long have you been working on this project? What have you learned while working on your project? And then do you have any other sources of funding? And how would our grant specifically expand or improve on your project? So that's the written application. Let's look at a video application for a new project. And you'll see that you can upload a file here. We ask that you keep your videos to 10 minutes or less, and all of the questions are here, and you can answer in any order as long as you include all of the answers. And we give you some general guidelines on the amount of time you should be spending. So describe your project and how it will have an impact in your community. How will your project exemplify each of Riley's Ways values? What is your project timeline? And then is there anything else you'd like us to know? And so for new projects, that's kind of where you would end. And then you would, again, share the exact amount of funding you're requesting and attach that detailed budget. If you are an existing project for written or for a video application, you can include those written, those existing project questions in your video if you want. But we've also included them down below. So if you would rather write those out, you can do that. You just would say in video. If you've put those in the video, just so that we know where to look for those. But we wanted to give folks options for that question. And so you can either answer it again in the video or on the written application. And so that's the main bulk of the application page here. And just a hint or a tip for anyone who's applying, please try to keep we recommend that you keep your applications focused on Riley's Way values as much as possible so that we can then make sure that the project is a great fit for the program. The next tab is the supplemental material. So anything on this page is optional. You can, anything else you'd like us to know, feel free to upload photos, videos, things like that. On the application page, you'll remember that there is that question. Is there anything else you'd like us to know that you can write or share in the video? Here's where you'll upload anything. So website links, press links, links to Google Drives. You can share your social media handles. If you have a letter of recommendation from a mentor or a coach, a peer, someone who has been impacted by your project, a partner organization, you can upload that letter of recommendation here. It's not required though. And again, we have space for you to share additional photos. And again, this whole section is optional. We just love seeing projects and hearing more about them and learning more about them. So any information you want to provide is fantastic. The next tab is project partner. So as it explains here, for legal and tax purposes, we can't give the Call for Kindness grant to individuals, but we are able to give the money to registered 501c3 organizations. So every project needs to either be its own 501c3 or have a fiscal sponsor or partner organization. This can be a school or another nonprofit who you're working with, who will be your fiscal sponsor. We do not require projects to have a fiscal sponsor in order to apply. This page is really information for us to know where you stand in your fiscal sponsorship. So you'll just answer the questions honestly, and it has no weight on the decision-making process. Again, it's just information for Riley's Way. So do you have a project or fiscal sponsor? So let's start out saying, my project is a 501c3. Fantastic. All you'll need to do is just upload your 501c3 certification letter or another form of verification here. If you have a fiscal sponsor, you'll just list their information here. So their school or name, their website, if they have one or if it's optional, and then who you're working with at that program or at that school or at that nonprofit, who we can be in touch with about the fiscal sponsorship. So their name and their email address, as well as a letter of support. And this can be super brief from them stating, we will be your project's fiscal sponsor. We understand what that means, or we're happy to support this project. And you'll just upload that here. And then let's say you do not have a project or fiscal sponsor. And but you do have one in mind. You've been kind of talking to them. You think that they might be a good fit. So just share the name and then tell us more. How do you have a connection to them? Have you already reached out to them? How can we support you in getting them to confirm that they're going to be your fiscal sponsor? So just, brief information about them. But let's say that you don't have a project or fiscal sponsor in mind. No. What else would you like us to know about? What support do you need from Riley's Way to look for a potential partner? This section's optional, but as much information, again, as you want to provide would be fantastic. Any project that does not have a fiscal sponsor, when they do win the Call for Kindness, will work directly with Riley's Way staff to help ensure that they can create that connection with an external organization to help them so that they can receive the funds. In rare cases, Riley's Way will act as a fiscal sponsor if it makes sense to do so, but we really want to try to create those connections in your local community to make sure that you have support while doing your project on the ground. And again, all of this information does not have any bearing on whether a project is selected for the grant or not. And then finally, the last tab is the Call for Kindness Fellowship. So this is more information, as you've already heard from the Call for Kindness team about the Call for Kindness. So how will the Call for Kindness Fellowship program help your project grow and your own growth as a kind leader? And if you're working as a group, you can talk about your group's growth or individuals on your team's growth. If accepted into the Call for Kindness, what are some skills you would like to strengthen or trainings you would like to receive? This helps us plan out our year because we really tailor it to the needs of each cohort. So what are the skills that you might need to be successful? And then this question is optional, but are there any topics that you feel like you could lead a workshop in? We want to know that too, because we do like to make sure that all of our programming is as youth-led as possible. And then this is just confirmation. So please click to confirm that you or a member of your group is able to commit to attending 80% of the leadership development listings offerings, which we list above. Click here to submit that you will submit those 2 grant reports throughout the course of your fellowship. And then click here to confirm that you understand that the grant will be split into 2 checks. For the application process, we are conducting interviews with finalists during the week of April 16th to 25th. And so we want to know, if you are selected as a finalist, when are you available? So just list all of the dates and times that you or your team members are available for that. And please include time zones because we are a national organization. So we want to make sure that we hit all those key time zones in those groups. And then how did you hear about the Call for Kindness? Please be specific. We love details. Be as specific as possible here. We really want to say thank you to our partners if they've spread the word, or hear how far our reach has gone with the Call for Kindness. So once you have filled out the whole application, you can hit submit application. If you want to read through what you've done, again, you can just click that preview button. and it'll fill out all of the answers that you have here. So obviously I didn't fill it out too much, but it'll show you where you land. And then if you're not quite ready to submit it, you can always hit save and close. And that'll save your application and you can always come back to it. So it'll look like this when you log in. You'll have your one application in progress. And you can click here and you can go right back to it. It'll should bring you right back to where you were, but it might bring you, yep, it brings you right back to the beginning. So, and again, you can go to any tab in any order. If you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to reach out to the Riley's Way team. We can be found at a myriad of emails, but I definitely recommend doing the callforkindness@rileysandler.org email if you have any questions. Thank you so much for your interest in the Call for Kindness, and we can't wait to read your application.